Hello, good afternoon. I am here for my twice weekly drop-in for the Own Your Fire road opener that we're doing as a community here. And I thought I would drop in for a collective read today, and then we'll kind of touch into the course material for this week. Just for those who are new subscribers and new to this whole Own Your Fire concept, you're not sure what I'm talking about. Own Your Fire is a course that I created through Cobra's Medicine Bag. You can find it on cobrasmedicinebag.com. And right there on the home page, you will see the listing of the course. It has a very brief little write-up synopsis about the course. And then underneath that, you will see a red button that says free access here. You can click right on that button. It takes you directly into the course. You don't need to log in. You don't need to create an account. You don't need to give me your email. I'm not selling anything. There's no upsell, no sales pitch to come. It's just a course that I wanted to offer to support the community here. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I have 27 years in the holistic health field, doing all kinds of work, okay? Doing intuitive eating counseling work, doing work as an Ayurvedic practitioner, doing work as a transformational body worker. I've worked alongside doctors, so I'm familiar with some of those Western medicine protocols, and I've worked in physical therapy settings. I put all of this information into a course series called the Dosha Discovery Series on Cobra's Medicine Bag. And this particular series is all based on Ayurveda and getting to understand the doshas and moving in a seasonal flow with the natural rhythm of life. So it's a wonderful course. It can transform your life. It deals with health, mind, body, spirit. And then here on BroadCoven, I'm bringing in a little bit of the metaphysical influence to pepper the course. And the course is completely free. And so I just wanted to offer this to the community here as a way for all of us to support one another in growing, evolving, working through our stuff, working off that karma. We're all here working off karma. We're all working the lessons of our spiritual paths. And so I really wanted to offer this because I am moving into my role of exploration, I guess. Exploration when it comes to what I'm here to do. I know I'm here to be a writer. I know I'm here to be a speaker. I know that I'm meant to take things in a metaphysical direction now. So all of my focus is heading in that direction. I'm moving away from my work as an Ayurvedic practitioner, but it absolutely informs the work that I will be doing going forward. And I experienced so much healing through the path of Ayurveda that I really wanted to pass it on to all of you, just pay it forward as a way for me to honor the roots of Ayurveda, which is very much focused on thinking collectively, not thinking out of that place of egoic I consciousness, but really thinking from a place of we're all in this together. And I wanted to pass that on through a seva. And I'm opening up each of the courses in the Dosha Discovery series. We already got Kapha open, okay? So you're welcome to access that too. If you want to read up about the Kapha course, that's really to be applied during the springtime. It also has application for those of you who do know your dosha type. So if you have Kapha strongly aspected in your constitution, or even if you're dealing with a Kapha imbalance, you might find that beneficial right now. You can just look up under the All Courses heading on the Cobra's Medicine Bag website, and you can see the Kapha course there. Same thing. It's completely open to the public. It's free. You don't need to click on anything, to sign up for anything or anything along those lines. Okay, so there will be one more that will be opening up in the fall, and that is going to be the Vata course. And they're all part of my Dosha Discovery series. And then I'll have a Grace in Crisis course, which is using Ayurveda to cope with times of loss, grief, or crisis. And that'll be opening up around the holiday season. And this is just my gift to all of you here. I noticed we have a lot of new subscribers. So to all of you, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you to all of the current subscribers. We've been experiencing some growth here, and it's really wonderful. I'm so happy that the messages are getting out to more people and that there's more people that will have access to this support. It really means so much to me. So for all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you very much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do consider, because it does help us get beyond the algorithm, as well as giving a thumbs up, you know, or leaving a comment. All of these things help, and they're a wonderful exchange of energy that allows me to continue to give this support, and it helps get it out to more people. So really appreciate you. I appreciate you all as co-creators of the experience here. So thank you so much for holding the vision, for being in a place in your life where you're ready to be the change you want to see in the world. This week's lesson in the Own Your Fire course is all about channeling your fire. And I thought that it would be a wonderful time to focus on a particular astrological aspect that we got coming in later this month in July on the 22nd. And that is Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo. It's a big one, okay? A very big one, because it's coming in after we have the change of the nodes of destiny, with Aries taking over North Node, Libra taking over South Node, that Alpha Omega point. It's when we really birth the new beginnings in our lives. And right as we're birthing new beginnings, there's like the rebirth of some old stuff coming back around, okay? We have to remember that Libra is South Node at that time. When we have the changing of the nodes in Libra, is all about karmic balance. So there's some stuff that's going to come back around then to be balanced out. And so I thought it would be a wonderful time to dive into a collective reading. We're going to call it the heart of the matter, okay? And this will be a reading series that I will bring forward for each individual sign after I complete a super moon wildcard read, where we're looking at this lunar cycle leading up to that changing of the nodes of destiny and the Leo new moon. So big Leo energy coming in very strongly. I'm getting those super moon reads out this week, okay? And then we'll get into the Venus retrograde reads for each of the signs as well. But we're going to do a collective right now, because this week in the Own Your Fire course, it's all about the heart, okay? The heart of the matter. And so I thought it would be a perfect time to do a collective read like this, dive into the energy, because we know that in Ayurveda, macrocosm is reflected in microcosm. Whatever is happening in the bigger picture out there in the world, in nature itself, is also happening within us in our own little microcosm of our day-to-day experience. So I thought it would be a really great time to kind of bring this energy in, since we're focusing on heart health this week in the course, which is so significant because Pitta rules over the whole cardiovascular system. And so it's very important that we work to really balance Pitta, to temper Pitta. The reason is, if we hold in our emotions too much, our emotions can become pressurized, our emotions can become inflammatory. And in fact, a lot of times when we see reactiveness coming forward in a person, or when we experience aggression or anger, a lot of times this has to do with internal hurt. It's some kind of wounding, some type of grief, some emotional reality that hasn't been expressed, that hasn't been witnessed, and instead has been internalized. And it builds up a certain kind of pressure, a certain kind of stress when we don't allow our emotions to flow. And our undigested experiences as well can create a certain kind of inflammation in our gut. We talked about that a little bit in terms of digestion, just as we were preparing to go through the inflammation cleanse last week. And if you haven't done the inflammation cleanse yet, okay, if you're still a little behind on that, it's okay, because it really is a lifestyle, and you can embrace it at any point you want through this experience. It's ideal for summertime. Things shift a little bit once we head into Vata season in the late fall. early winter time, you know, but all depends on where you live, really. It's all about your climate. You know, for some people, fall in the Western Hemisphere is the opposite, right? They're like, they're more gearing up for things warming up. Okay. So it just all depends on where you are in the world. And that also comes into play. It's about being aware of your environment, your place in the environment, and how to flow harmoniously with that. Okay. So this can be incorporated at any point as we're moving through Pitta season. We don't change into Vata season until fall equinox. So we've got a number of months to work with here. So you can employ that inflammation cleanse at any point. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be rigid. Remember, everything about balancing Pitta is about moderation. It's about finding that middle way. Okay, it's not all or nothing. And if you even just started kind of incorporating more anti-inflammatory foods in your diet last week, that's excellent. All right. Any steps you take. Now, this week, we're looking more at channeling that internalized fire in productive ways so we don't hold in that fire, creating an internal pressurized environment, which raises our stress, which raises cortisol, which puts that weight around the middle that is a precursor for all kinds of disease in the body, with heart disease being a major factor there. And this is what we are focusing on this week. And we are focusing on heart health in terms of prevention. What can we do to prevent? And we're also getting a realistic view of our current position right now. Where are we at with our heart health? Do we need to maybe get a stress test done? Should we have our blood pressure checked? Looking at these things, looking at what are the precursors for heart disease? Do we recognize any of these warning signs in ourselves? And if so, can we not put our heads in the sand around that, but instead be honest with ourselves, look at where we might need to change some things in our lives, where we might need to be more mindful of the way we're eating, where we might need to learn how to better manage our stress. Stress is so pro-inflammatory, and stress is so hard on our hearts. And so much stress stems from unexpressed emotions, not channeling our fire in effective ways. And when we're looking at fire that becomes pressurized, we're looking at qualities such as frustration, agitation, feeling annoyed, okay? Just feeling very like, almost like you got such a buildup of energy, but nowhere for it to go. And so it makes you like pop off or bite somebody's head off, you know? Or you feel really vulnerable and hurt about something. And so subconsciously, this part of you takes over that makes yourself really big and angry and mean, you know, to like push people away because you're doing it out of self-protection. But in all cases, it kind of comes back to this place of the heart, because, you know, we really, we hold so much here in Anahata chakra, our heart chakra, our heart center. This is our place of really being in touch with what gives us meaning and true like connection in our lives, to feel connected to our lives, not just with each other, but connected with our own experience, connected with the world around us. And so a lot of people are having Anahata chakra affected at this time. And the reason they're having Anahata chakra affected at this time is there's so much division in the world. There's so much polarization, and we've moved very much out of that love space collectively into more of a fear space. And when we do that, we're going to feel a sense of division. And this also increases our stress. When we feel disconnected from our experience, when we feel lost, when we feel like we don't belong, or when we're dealing with challenges in our relationships, or we feel very isolated or alone because we see things differently than other people, it can stem from many different roots, okay? Many different root issues with what's going on collectively. When we feel divided like this, it's a stress, and it's a stress on our hearts, because ultimately it affects our cardiovascular system. When we feel stressed, the cortisol raises, and this puts a real taxing demand on our hearts to process this stress, deal with this stress, we get elevation of blood pressure. If we're not being mindful of the way we're eating, or if we're not allowing ourselves to really just like cleanse ourselves of old stuff that we're hanging on to. I mean, you have to think of arterial buildup. You know, if you were to compare that, because remember, in Ayurveda, we look at things in a holistic perspective. So what's happening physically in the body is also happening mentally, it's happening emotionally, it's also playing out in our day-to-day life. So when we're looking at heart disease and you've got this arterial buildup of plaque, this is like too much that hasn't been cleansed from the system. It's eating foods that create a state of inflammation in our body that creates a certain toxic load that we just can't filter it all out effectively. This is just being totally out of balance and disrupting the integrity of the flow and the release. And this is very significant because, you know, the heart, it's like our filtration system, okay? It keeps things going. It takes a licking and it'll keep ticking, but you can't put too much demand on it. And it's kind of like, you know, with the car, you know, you got to change the oil sometimes, right? It's like the same thing. You have to be aware of really maintaining this filtration system. I mean, part of that filtration system obviously is the lymphatic system, which we've gone into a bit. The cough, of course, goes more significantly into the lymphatic system because kapha rules over the lymph system, the rasa, the river of life. But when we're looking at, you know, the blood, we are looking at what is being filtered out, you know, what is being cleansed from the system. And there's a picture of not letting this stuff go, not letting stuff be released, not filtering out this stuff that doesn't play an essential role in kind of like moving us forward that needs to happen. So when you get a lot of holding on to old emotional stresses, traumas, you know, things that give us grief, or even situations, present situations that are causing us stress in our lives, but we're refusing to address it, whether that stress is coming from a relationship or an unexpressed truth, or whether that stress is coming from a job that you can't stand, or it's coming from the way you're eating is putting an unnecessary stress on your body, or just the environment you find yourself in maybe is stressful. All of these things that are being held onto, they create a certain toxic load, and it can create blockage. And when we have blockage, we have a problem. When we have blockage, then the nourishment can't get through. When we have blockage, there can be a buildup, and the buildup is in inflammation, and then we can't properly keep things pumping, and that's when we've taken too much of a licking and the ticker stops ticking and you can have a heart attack. Cardiovascular disease is something that is really at the forefront for me because it runs real heavy in my family. It's something that there is a genetic predisposition to, but you know, it's really important that we look at things from a standpoint of what can we do to prevent these issues from developing. So naturally, you know, pitta, it does rule over the heart. So if you have a dominant pitta constitution, automatically it means you would be more susceptible to developing these kinds of disorders. Does it mean you have to develop these disorders? Absolutely not. But it's being mindful of really managing your sources of stress predominantly. I really feel stress is the dominant thing that can cause so much illness. You know, it's where everything kind of starts, the stress. And then once you're stressed out, you know, it sets off a whole slew of hormonal reactions. And from there, it's a cascading effect that creates an accumulation down the chain, a manifestation that eventually leads to disease. And two of the greatest diseases that can be directly linked to stress that are a big problem in our society are diabetes and heart disease. This week, we are focusing on the heart. And so everything is outlined in the course. things that you can do, steps you can take to start preventing heart disease. Also, where you should look to see if it might be a good idea for you to go and get a stress test, see what's going on with your heart, or maybe get some vitals, some stats, you know, see what's going on with your cholesterol, see what's going on with your blood pressure. All of these things are important, and they're information that can have a bearing on your health and also can make you have a sense of accountability for your lifestyle and the way it is impacting your physical well-being. So I hope you will drop in on that, tune in for that. I am going to do timestamps on this particular post of this Own Your Fire read, so we can go ahead and mark when the reading starts, and that way those of you that just want to drop in for the read will be able to do that. But I wanted to just kind of get a little of this information opened up with here, because it is the whole basis of what we're moving through this week. And as we move through this week, as we're focusing on the heart, I also want you to focus on the heart of the matter. What is the heart of the matter, collective? Because this is what's coming to the forefront for us right now. And this is what's coming back around the bend when Venus goes retrograde in Leo on the 22nd this month, which comes just 4 days after the changing of the nodes of destiny and that Leo new moon. So it's a really significant time. What comes around the bend at this time, what you're reviewing in matters of the heart, it's significant. And for some of you, it's the foundation of moving forward. Some of you will be having very much back to the future moments. You realize that there's something you left in the past, and it does play a role in how you're moving forward. And it'll be playing out until September 3rd. So we got quite a bit of time to work with these energies here. So I just thought it would be cool to just kind of see whatever wants to come up. It's 22:22 on the clock when I said that. So I'm going to mark that down as the time that we are starting this read, so I can get that time stamp down for you. And I'm going to go ahead and switch on these comments in case anybody wants to hop in, say a few words. Bottom of the deck energy, we got the Queen of Swords. I'm working with Angel deck, the Angel Tarot. It's really been calling me lately. Hamia, God, the hope of all the earth. Ritual and ceremony can acquire all the treasures of heaven and earth. So Queen of Swords is also associated with air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I think that this is also speaking of the need to really speak our truth in matters of the heart at this time, collective. Very significant. And this is coming forward especially strongly for air signs. You know, there's some need to really communicate in your situation what you're dealing with. And I feel that there might also be a need to create some sense of closure, some sense of healing through ritual, you know, in areas where maybe you need to have healing or you need to have some expression of feeling, but for one reason or another, it's not appropriate at this time in your situation. There's still a need for expression. And I feel this is one of our ways that spiritually we can channel our fire, since that's the focus this week, right? We can channel the fire of our emotions through ritual that give meaning to our experiences, where maybe we feel that we were not granted that dignity in our situation of having our part be seen, heard, witnessed, have space held for our experience, okay? So I do feel like this expression is coming forward. I also feel there may be an opportunity to have some of these healing, closure, communications coming in very strongly with air sign energy. I also feel like it might be good to just sort of clear the old energy from the old cycle, all the shadow work that we've been doing in that Scorpio South Node, since we are preparing to enter a very brand new cycle, a date with destiny on the changing of the nodes of destiny that comes in on July 18th. During this current lunar cycle that we're in, it would be a really good time to just do some clearing work, because we are working with the dark moon energy at this time. We are working with the waning cycle of the moon. So it's a good time for letting go and releasing. And you're being encouraged to honor the things that you've had to cut off, the things that you've had to release, the things that you've needed to close cycle on through some kind of meaningful expression. And I feel that's coming through in the form of ritual or some kind of ceremony, some kind of spiritual ceremony to mark the occasion that you are actually witnessing yourself. It's a way for you to feel witnessed by spirit as well, but it's also you witnessing yourself in this release through giving creative expression to these deep emotions through some kind of ritual. All right. I feel like this opens the gateways, it opens the road, it allows you to be in a space of receptivity where you can actually experience what wants to flow into you as a result of that meaningful, dignified, respectful release, all right? It can be a road opener. Release rituals at this time can be a road opener. And there's no right or wrong way to do that. In fact, I really feel forget about tradition, forget about rules around it. It's so essential that you pay attention to what your heart needs, what feels respectful to you, and that you listen to your heart in creating your own release ritual. And that will give it so much more power and potency because you're really honoring yourself in moving through this powerful transition in your life. And it leads to a beautiful new beginning. Whatever is released, whatever you are letting go of at this time, something so beautiful floods in to fill that space once it's released respectfully. And we see right behind this on the base of the matter, we have 8 of Wands, the great and exalted God. Grandeur makes one passionate toward God. So I really feel this is a wonderful time to connect with our spirituality in this way. And in some essences, you're really being asked to let go of anything that's become burdensome, anything that causes pain, anything that causes you to feel internally frustrated, agitated, pressurized, that's creating stress for you, to just let it go through ritual, through some act of turning it over to spirit and saying, I can accept that I don't know what is best for this situation, but I do know that I'm ready to be free of the struggle and I'm ready to be free of the strife. I'm ready to move into a time in my life where there's greater flow and greater ease. And so I'm turning this over, Spirit, for you to take, and I'm trusting that you will guide me to where I'm meant to go. And there's something about turning this over that really allows Spirit to go, it's about time. We were wondering when you would actually let us help. We're here. Let's help you out. You know, you weren't receptive to it before. You were pushing so hard, trying to make something happen, that you were building your own stress in your life. And once you just come to a place of this gentle, relaxed acceptance and release and turning over, you're going to find so much freedom coming in. Not only that, but everything starts moving where it was blocked. Okay. We're going back to that image of like the clogged arteries that we opened up with in our initial drop in there. You know, you're allowing things to flow. You're allowing all the old stuff that it no longer serves a purpose, okay, to be cleansed, to be filtered out and released. And that also makes your heart lighter, okay? It stops the stagnancy. It gets things moving again. You start moving back out into reality. I also feel like it's good to also work with the other thing that came up in the lesson for this week, Channel Your Fire, which is get moving. Physically start moving your body. If you have felt like things have been stuck in a gridlock for a long time, one of the best ways to get energy moving emotionally, mentally, spiritually, okay, anywhere where you're feeling stuck internally, physically, get your body moving, and you will find that it also frees up your thoughts. Exercise can become sort of a container that can hold space for your feelings, your emotions to come forward, even your feelings of aggression, anger, grief, you know, it holds a space for it to come through. And in fact, a lot of times what needs to happen is the release of the wounding, the release of the pain, the tears that need to flow. And when we create this space, this container of exercise for the fire to move, it can lead to that place where you get beyond the wall of fire, because the fire's now, it's got a channel to move through. That's how you keep fire from being pressurized. You know, just try it the next time that you're feeling like really agitated, frustrated, or angry. Instead of popping off or kind of just going through the motions of your usual patterns, why don't you disrupt the pattern and instead get moving? And there's a number of ways you could do that. You could go for a run. You could go for a brisk walk. Get out into the fresh air. Get a little expansion around you so you don't feel so closed in. Get some space from what you're dealing with and just get things moving. And go ahead. Let yourself ruminate on it while you're moving. Notice what happens. You will have a breakthrough. You can go and lift some weights. You know, if you're dealing with a situation where you feel really frustrated and it's also making you feel weak, you're not feeling strong or empowered in the situation, you can go and like lift some weights, like feel your strength, remind yourself viscerally, physically of your strength, and you'll be amazed at how it has an effect on your emotional reality too. In fact, they've done a lot of studies about this, and they have found that strength training actually helps raise the self-esteem. It inspires more confidence, okay? Confidence is such an essential ingredient. It should be part of everybody's original recipe, right? For moving forward in life successfully and living your best life is to feel confident in who you are, confident and strong within yourself. So this is very beneficial. You know, you can do any kind of movement. You can do yoga, you know, learning how to channel these emotions through things like breath of fire, maybe doing some vinyasa flow, you know, turning up the heat, just like letting everything just pour out of you. And the beautiful thing about that is usually when you can get that initial reactive fire, pressurized fire, an outlet, a lot of times what happens is then you get emotional release, you get emotional flow, because then when the wall of fire is no longer there holding everything back, the lymph can finally get on board and go, oh, release, you know, finally things start to flow and the tears start to flow. The release happens and it's cleansing, it's purifying. And so this piece coming in, you know, as you release these blockages within yourself, which have an emotional basis in reality, that's causing agitation in your thoughts, the way you're viewing situations, the way you're viewing yourself and the circumstances you find yourself in, it gets everything moving. It will start to get things moving in your life. Things will start to move forward in a more productive direction. And I really see, if you devote yourself to this, you know, and kind of turn things over to spirit and get more in touch with your soul and your own energy at this time and where you're being directed, things will become very clear for you, and you'll really be able to channel your focus in a direction that's going to lead you somewhere where you'll be very happy when you arrive in that place. 33:55 on the clock when I said that, okay? There's so much healing on offer. There's a lot of support through this process. Yes, some of it is disruptive. There are some big changes around the bend, okay? We are all going through sort of like closing old cycles, being ready to step into the new cycle. And that's disruptive, all right? But these new beginnings that are coming into being, you want to make room for them because we're heading on that higher rung of the spiral. Okay, so let's see what gets moving. What is the heart of the matter for the collective spirit? What is the heart of the matter for the collective spirit? Give us guidance. And if you don't relate to spirit in that sense, just think of it as your higher consciousness, your higher awareness, and coming into that more evolved place within yourself, doing that personal growth work, and doing your personal release work so you can feel more empowered and more connected to your truth, your purpose, what's passionately guiding you forward at this time in your life. Okay, we got bringing the fire forward comes in next. Fire sign energy, Page of Wands. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Ethrithel, the preventing God, propagation of light, confounds the wicked and slanders, saves from enemies. So I really see this as speaking to what can hold us back. You know, when we make it about the other, when we focus our attention on what's going on around us on the periphery, maybe people we feel that are creating those blockages in our path, maybe people that we feel they're the source of the stress I'm feeling. If they would just get their act together, I wouldn't feel so stressed. I wouldn't feel so angry. Things wouldn't feel blocked. You can always make it about another person. And some of you, it has been very much out in the collective. Some of you have been dealing with somebody who's been speaking against your name. Maybe you have been dealing with people who have been speaking your truth for you, and they've been propagating lies. They've been slandering you. But the thing is you need to take accountability for letting your truth be evident in the actions you take. You can't worry about what people are paying lip service. It really doesn't matter. People can have your name in their mouth all the live long day. They can tell whatever stories they want about you, but it's the way you act, the actions you take in life that are the loudest voice in the room, and nobody can ignore what is right in front of their face. And so right now it's all about the actions you take, the ways that you show up. For a lot of you, I do feel it's about you bringing that illumination forward. It's about you letting your fire come forward, which means your voice matters. Your truth in the situation matters. You need to bring your truth forward because that is a light that will actually shine the way forward. Maybe some of you have known, like, I need to reach out to this person. I need to have this communication, but I know it's going to open up a lot and it may be disruptive. You might have had some fear around this. You may feel like you are agitated and you're afraid that you can't keep your cool in speaking your truth. But there is a way that you can really channel your fire and you can speak your truth with authority, even if you do need to, like, you know, get people rocking and rolling a little bit, okay? You might shake some people's foundations with your truth, but if that happens, it's just kind of an indication that that truth has been held in for too long. So, you know, it's almost like people have gotten complacent. They've gotten used to this idealized version of what you've been presenting, and so your truth comes as a shock to them. You know, it wakes them up out of their own sleepwalking. It sort of disrupts the inertia. It gets things moving. We know that with the Eight of Wands that came in as the basis of the matter. This gets things moving. You speaking your truth gets things moving. But it gets things moving in a very beautiful, powerful way. Eight of Wands is highly productive energy. That is getting things moving in the right direction, okay? Freeing things up. That is finally seeing some positive turn of events. So where you've been feeling really pressurized because you feel like nobody cares what I feel, nobody cares what I think, nobody cares what I have to say about this situation, nobody is even paying attention to where I'm at. Maybe it's time for you to bring your fire forward and bring your truth into the mix, okay? Coming in very strongly for fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, it is coming through as a Page of Wands, okay? So that's like where you need to communicate, take the action, all right? Send that message, you know, ring that person up, get them on the phone, speak your truth, you know, arrange to meet with that person, drop in with them. And, you know, also when we're looking at page energy, it's like just an initial beginning. It seems like it's not that big of a deal. Or some of you may feel like, well, would my truth even matter? You might have been dealing with really combative situations. But with the Venus retrograde energy coming around and with all the positive, you know, things lining up, building up to this, with the changing of the nodes of destiny, we know that we do have the possibility of balancing things out. We do have the possibility of closing old karmic cycles and bringing things into a state of balance and initiating a brand new way forward, okay? So there's a lot on offer, and some of you might need to close some old things before you can really move forward cleanly. But this is saying that you can close things in a new way, and it's all about really trusting that what you have to contribute to the situation matters, what you have to say matters, and it's time to bring your fire forward, coming in very strongly for fire sign energy, to kind of educate people about your position, what you feel, what you would like to see happen in this situation, and your ideas in any situation where there's some kind of stress in the mix, something to sort out, some kind of drama, past issues that are getting in the way, things that are causing disruption and blockages. This allows you to like build the light in the situation. It illuminates things. People don't feel in the dark anymore. People don't feel confused. And that's the thing, when things are kind of like happening in the dark, happening behind the scenes, when there's a lot of secrecy, you know, energy doesn't lie. So people feel this energy, and that can automatically create blockages because it puts everybody on guard. You know, they got their guards up. They can't trust. They can't move forward cleanly. So this is so important. We're really seeing a need here. And as I'm talking about this, I'm getting blockage in the throat chakra. So I know that that's the blockage that really needs to be cleared in order to also free up heart space. And it's so essential to free up the heart space because so many people, they're like, I want my new beginning. You know, I'm ready for things to get easier. I'm ready to get to the other side of what's been such a challenge of all this heavy duty, you know, Scorpio South Node work, all the shadow work and all the disruption, everything I've been through. But if you got anahata, if your heart chakra is blocked, you can't receive anything. You can't receive anything. And so throat chakra, Vishuddha, coming forward is like, you need to exercise your throat chakra. It's coming through so strongly. There's a need to just clear out, you know, what's being held back here, you know, what's being held back, what's being swallowed down. Some of you are swallowing down your emotions with food, or you're swallowing down your emotions with alcohol, or you're swallowing down your emotions by just, you know, putting on a brave face, but not speaking your truth, and therefore kind of like living a lie. It's getting hard being in this space of not living from the place of your truth. This is about you taking that first step that's actually in alignment with your heart space, even if it's scary. And even if other people don't get it, or they don't understand, or you're afraid of how they'll view you, what they'll think of you, it doesn't matter. This is about you taking those first steps, and it grows into something more, you know. This page of wands brings forward just one single wand, just the initiation of action of, okay, I'm ready to get things moving here. So I'll go first. I'll be brave. I'll go first. And maybe this really coming in alignment with the changing of the nodes of destiny, because that's what that Aries North node is all about. It's like, I'll take the initiative. So where can you take the initiative in your life to get things moving? And as you're thinking about this in terms of the heart space, you know, the heart of the matter, what needs to be addressed in your life. And for each of you, it will be different, because even though we're moving through this collectively, in our own little microcosmic experience, we're all dealing with different issues. We're all going through different experiences. And even though we're all riding that same wave, we can still feel very isolated in our own experiences. So this is really about freeing yourself from this sense of disconnection by actually connecting, you know, connecting through communication, taking the action, taking the step, and look at other ways that you are holding the energy back in your life. Where are you holding your creative energy back? Where are you holding back physical, you know, action, physical motion, like getting things shifted around in your environment, in your home, so they better support you, or even just moving your body to keep your heart healthy, okay? Because let's face it, you know, if the ticker stops ticking, there is nothing to be stressed about anymore, because time's up, okay? There's something about this piece too, time's up. It's time to stop holding back what you know needs to come forward. It might require bravery, you know, to shine a light on this and to speak your truth. But this is what gets things moving. This is what builds the light. And it also prevents any distortion of your truth that's been perpetuated by any kind of gossip or slander around you, or people speaking your truth for you, you know, telling other people what your truth is. No, this is you making it very clear. This is my truth. Ted just said yes on this. This is where I stand. And that's what it means to bring your fire forward. And, you know, it says here on this card, saves from enemies, but I feel like a lot of times we can be our own worst enemies because we don't allow our voice to come forward. All right. So this is a very important step, you know, as we move toward that Venus retrograde cycle that kicks off on the 22nd of July, is really getting clear on what is our truth. Where do I need to bring my fire forward? Where do I need to take an action? Where do I need to speak my truth? When I connect with my heart, you know, what is the truth in my heart? And how can I bring that forward? Not just, you know, in my consciousness, but through the way I live my life, the actions I take, the choices I make, what I communicate, how I'm showing up, okay? This just flipped over. This brings healing, 3 of Cups, the right hand of God. You move in partnership with spirit at that point, okay? Fame and renown influences commerce, voyages, and great discoveries, okay? I feel like this is also really reminding me, for some reason, even though it's the 3 of Cups, it reminds me of an Ace of Pentacles, this imagery here, and that makes me, oh, I love this. Look at this. There's the circle of fire around this baby, this infant in the center. And this is even a yantra, this triangle here. This is actually about drawing down the energy of spirit and making it manifest in material reality. And we see the baby here. I see that as like the new beginning, the birth of the new beginning, the new chapter opening. The new chapter opening is a new beginning that creates healing. And what you might not understand, as you bring your fire forward, you share your contribution in whatever situations you're struggling with, and you express what you're feeling, you allow yourself to be seen in that emotional transparency. Look, you inspire others, the light builds, that flame builds. Now we have a circle of fire, and this circle of fire is illuminating what is the way to the new beginning. How can we root this new beginning in reality? How can we bring this into being? And it's no longer just about one person. It's working together. It's working together as a community. It's pulling together all the people in your situation where maybe right now things seem very divided. Maybe right now there's a lot of misunderstanding in your situation. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen. But somebody needs to be brave enough in this situation. I mean, it really looks like fire sign energy is bringing the fire forward. We also had, you know, Queen Swords show up on the board. So air and fire, once again, getting back on the same page. They were on the same page for a while, and then they kind of like veered off. They went their own ways. They went rogue for a while. I feel like air and fire are getting back on board again. You know, I think air and fire needed to go to their corners. You know what I'm saying? They had things they needed to integrate on their own, but I feel like that teaming up of energy again. And it makes sense with just moving towards those nodes of destiny shifting. It makes absolute sense that air and fire would be getting back on board again, right? Because Aries North node will be that alpha point, and Libra South node is the omega point. And when you bring alpha and omega together, what do? You get creative power, all right? You get that birth of that new beginning. I also feel that where you're having this, a bird just flew by the window. So yes, messages from spirit, this coming in very strongly, okay? I feel like there is a lot that is going to come forward for you in this lunar cycle. And it's only going to continue to grow and expand as you do the proper closing of these old karmic cycles and have things come back around the bend that need to be healed. To me, I think this Venus retrograde cycle that's coming in with that Leo new moon and will be in the sign of Leo, it's really a time to kind of shine a light on what we weren't willing to look at before. It's about illuminating things, and also in situations where there's been a lot of heaviness, a lot of pain, a lot of stagnancy, a lot of division, a lot of feeling stuck, just unable to find a solution, focusing so much on the shadow, focusing so much on the problem. It allows the light to come back into the situation, but it does require like a little bravery. But there's so much about this that like frees everything up, because like I was saying, it all comes back to the heart of the matter. And once we close our hearts, or once we become very self-protective, we're not willing to open up the heart space, we're not willing to let ourselves be seen in our emotional authenticity, we're not willing to be vulnerable, we lose our ability to be open, and we can't receive anything. And it looks like once we head in this direction where we're willing to sort of like bring our fire forward in our own lives, do our own transformational healing work, doing those release rituals, you know, clearing out the old energy from our personal space, and then also being willing to take action in our lives that moves things forward progressively, bringing our peace forward, speaking our emotional truth, living from that place, building the light in our lives through the actions we take, the choices we make. The more that we're willing to do that, the more that whatever was spoken against you, whatever misunderstandings there were about you, whatever cases of mistaken identity because somebody else created a narrative around you, automatically that's dispelled. You become known for who you are because you're showing up as you are. It's powerful. Standing in your truth and bringing your fire forward is what frees you. It's what opens up the new cycle for you. It's what brings you healing. It's what brings you a reason to celebrate. And it also has people really getting to know who you really are. And that is the redemption. So in cases where you're dealing with conflict or drama or some kind of dissension, or, you know, people that are causing problems in your life, building stress in your life, creating blockages in your life through slander, through gossip, through any of this kind of nonsense, this is a way for you to kind of show up as you are and actually reclaim the authority in your life. And you're the one who tells the story of who you are. And you tell the story of who you are by how you show up in your earth walk. It doesn't matter what people say. People will never really care what people say. They'll pay attention to what people do, ultimately. And that's what you need to remember. It's not about getting in tit for tat with people. It's not about getting into a place of conflict or getting wrapped up in any kind of dramas or intrigues or anything like that. It's about you just making your truth so clear by the way you show up and the choices you make that is absolutely undeniable. And that's what you will be known for. So I see it's so important for you to bring your fire forward at this time. And as you channel your fire in this way, instead of diverting it to getting into a yelling match with somebody or arguing about things or getting bitter and feeding the fire in a destructive way, by using it to illuminate through your life experience, through moving your energy forward in an empowering way and from a truthful place of what's aligned with your heart and soul, and trusting, trusting spirit or the divine order of things, or your higher awareness, your higher consciousness to sort out the best solutions. Your job is just to show up honestly, transparently in your truth, letting the truth of your being illuminate where you stand. And also, of course, through the actions you can take to move toward a solution, right? For a lot of you, this involves some kind of communication of your truth, and this is what hasn't happened. There's some action you need to take in this regard. It's falling on your shoulders. It does come through with fire sign energy, but where this comes through, it opens up, it opens up the harbor. Okay, we've been talking about this recently. If you want those ships to come in with the Three of Wands, if you want your blessings to come in, if you want your new chapter to come in, if you want your new beginning, those ships can't come in if the harbor is not there. The ships can't dock if nothing's been prepared for their arrival. And so this is what you need to do. You need to prepare for their arrival. This allows everything that you've been waiting for to come in for you. It might look different than what you expected, but that's the piece of giving it over to spirit and to trust that there's a divine timing to things. There's a divine order of things, and timing never works according to our specifications. Things are timed in such a way that maybe it doesn't make sense when you're in the period where you're trying to be patient and you're waiting for this release from whatever, you know, difficult cycle you've been in. But once things line up, you'll get it. It'll become clear. And this is about having a bit of that like daring and, you know, a bit of that resilience that you know you got what it takes to rise to the challenge, and that you should have, you know, the courage to bring your voice forward, to bring your piece forward, and to take the actions that are right for you and in alignment with your heart and your soul, because that's what prepares the way for these blessings to come in. It's by holding things back, holding things in, keeping the energy like held back, damming it up, that's actually preventing this flow of new beginnings, healing, reconciliation, and new openings, new opportunities, abundance. You can even see this manifest in terms of your financial well-being, okay? If you're finding that you're having trouble generating financial flow in your life, look at where you're damming up the energy. Are you even open to receiving it? And are you taking action that like shows that you're invested in heading in a certain direction? Maybe you've kind of dropped the ball back there. Maybe you're just waiting for things to come in, but you're not really preparing the harbor for those ships to come in. So now's the time to really look back on the beginning of Own Your Fire. And when we set up that mission statement, now's a good time to review that mission statement. Are you on track? Look at those action steps you wrote down. How many of them have you fulfilled? Maybe go back to the beginning. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, Venus retrograde energy. It's okay to go back sometimes. Sometimes going back helps you see something that you didn't see before, that allows you to put a stronger foundation in place that actually leads to that celebration you're hoping for, that actually leads to that healing you're after. So I would review what came up in week 1 and writing down your mission statement and your action steps. And if you still have a whole list of action steps and you haven't taken any of them, you know, hold yourself to it. You know, ask yourself to bring your fire forward and to contribute to the forward progression of your life. You know, hold yourself accountable and say, you know what? No matter what, every day, I'm going to take a new action step. I got all these action steps listed, and I'm going to take an action step, you know, and if you haven't gone through that yet, go ahead and get the free course on cobrasmedicinebag.com and go to the home page there. You'll see the course listed. Press that free access here button. You're right in. You don't need to log in for anything. And just go ahead and go through the lessons, okay? We're on lesson 3 this week. It'll give you everything you need to take an action to move forward and bring your fire forward. This brings healing. This brings your new beginning. And there's a lot you're going to discover along the way. You know, it's going to take you on quite a trip. So this coming forward very strongly. I love this healing that is on offer. Let's see. Any other guidance, spirit? And then I think I'm going to do an overarching theme energy here. Any guidance, spirit, for the collective in preparing for this Venus retrograde cycle that's going to be coming in on July 22nd, and the new chapter that will be opening up, the changing of the nodes of destiny? How can they prepare during this lunar cycle for the energies that are coming in? It looks like there's a lot of healing on offer. There's an opportunity for transformation in the situations that have been troubling you. The stuck is going to become unstuck. A lot of it has to do with your ability to receive, though. And to receive, you have to be willing to let go and trust, you know, most of all, trust in yourself. And I feel that what's really coming through in regard to this is trusting that your piece matters, you know, trusting that you matter, trusting that your voice matters, that your dreams, what you have to contribute, your ideas for how things can move forward, it matters. And it's about you contributing that and not holding it back anymore. You got to allow a channel for that fire, and that channel is coming through expression. It wants to be expressed through your voice. And also just the need to let go, you know, and give yourself some space to create some respectful rituals around the closing of old cycles, you know, where you're struggling to let go. Give it meaning. Some of you are having a hard time letting go because you feel like you've never been given closure in a particular situation you're dealing with. You might need to create that closure for yourself by calling on the support of spirit or your higher consciousness or just a higher sense of wisdom, the wisdom of nature. If you look at nature, if you meditate on nature, nature is brilliant at knowing how to let things go, right? The sun rises every day, but you don't see the sun desperately trying to shine longer when it's time for it to go down at the end of the day either. There's an ebb and flow in life. The waves wash over the shore and then they pull back and they recede. We are a part of nature. So to resist these cycles of release of our own individual rhythms of ebb and flow is to really be out of harmony with nature itself. And how can we ever expect to feel in the flow and supported and abundant and having what we need if we dam up that flow? We're not even moving in harmony with the natural order of things. With us currently being in a waning moon cycle, now is really an ideal time for us to move forward. Bottom of the deck energy, we have the Five of Wands, God listening and concealment. It's like sort of like spirits watching what's going on. You may think that spirits abandon you. Some of you are feeling very challenged spiritually, or you're not feeling supported by life. You're feeling very disconnected in this way, but you're not abandoned. Like, spirit's seeing what's going on, okay? You're going through a time of test and trial. I mean, it happens on every seeker's path. When we make the choice to grow, when we're ready to grow, we will be tested. It's the fire test of truth. Right now, you're being asked, collective, are you willing to stand in your truth? Are you willing to live from your truth? Because when we stand in our truth, and when we live from our truth, that's when we are standing and living from a place of love. And that is the solution, okay? It is the solution. It says here, Five of Wands is the basis of the matter. God listening in concealment, politics and ambition, wins judgments and protect all those who seek the truth. All those who seek the truth. Look, he's holding up that staff, more fire energy there. This is really about be willing to go into kind of the storm, what you've avoided, with the Five of Wands. This is about being willing to bring your voice into the mix of what may have been a very combative situation, may have been a very competitive situation as well. For some of you, this is playing out in a goal you have in terms of something you're creating for yourself, like a business you're building for yourself, a vision you have, and maybe you're heading into a direction that's really competitive, and you're having some almost imposter syndrome feelings, like do I really have what it takes, or are people going to receive what I have to offer? Are they going to appreciate it? Maybe you're comparing your work or what you have to offer to what somebody else is doing. This is about not getting into that. It's about throwing your hat in the ring. Like, let yourself get in the mix. Like, let your creative gifts be seen. Bring them forward. That's what you're here to do. You're here to express your your natural essence and the gifts that it brings with the world. This is your purpose. All of us are meant to do this. All of us are meant to bring our fire forward, bring our light forward in this way. I feel creative fire energy very strongly. It's like, don't get in the politics. Don't get in the politics. When I think politics, I always think of that. There always has to be a winner and a loser, and there always has to be these two opposing sides. It's like, why not just let everybody bring their light forward and shine? We're each unique. We each have our own unique contribution, our own unique voice, our own unique perspective. This is about understanding. It's not about contrast and compare. It's about understanding there doesn't need to be a winner and a loser. It doesn't need to be about that. Like, everyone wins. Everyone wins when they allow themselves to shine their light, be who they are, speak their truth, and live from that place in the world. So it's almost like you kind of owe it to yourself, you owe it to yourself to go for it. Don't hold yourself back. And, anytime somebody goes for a dream, they go for a vision, and it's something brand new to them, and They're bringing something maybe they've held very close to their hearts for a long time to the surface, and they're letting it be witnessed and seen. That's vulnerable, you know? That's vulnerable. And you may have some people that don't agree with you heading in the direction you want to head in. You know, maybe they're giving you flack. Maybe they're giving you a hard time. Maybe this makes you feel conflicted inside. Like, should I be doing this? Is this the right thing? Don't doubt yourself. That's what this test is all about right now. It's about you really being aligned with your truth, trusting your own heart and what it's telling you to do, trusting your own heart and your own soul's directive to guide you forward. And maybe you do have to take a stand, you know, but it's better to stand for something than fall for anything. You know what I'm saying? This is about letting yourself actually be ambitious, you know, letting yourself use your fire to go after something for yourself for a change, instead of being there as the cheerleader or always there to back up other people and what they're doing. It's about really recognizing that, hey, I have something to share and contribute to. It's time for me to bring that forward. And what you don't understand is that this actually allows you to really advance in your life. And not only advance in your life, but it also aligns you with the people who resonate with you, because now you're not just keeping the peace. Now you're not just like dealing with uncomfortable, you know, situations in an effort to be the mediator who has no self-interest. No, you have self-interest too. You also have dreams, you also have hopes, you have desires, and it's about recognizing that this is important. And when we live in alignment with our own sense of purpose, or our own heart space, our own desires, that really we are serving the greater collective, because we are here to bring that fire forward. This brings a winning judgment. You know, as long as you invest in what's the truth of your heart and you let it be evident in how you're taking action at this time and what you're communicating at this time, the judgment will be in your favor, because all those who seek the truth and all those who live from that place of truth are protected. And I love it. Right after that, on the bottom of the deck energy, we have the Four of Wands. That's total alignment. Total alignment, celebration. A lot of you during this Venus retrograde cycle, you are healing a relationship with somebody. And it brings a beautiful sense of alignment. For some of you, this balancing out, this willingness to leave behind what doesn't serve you and to step into your passion and your purpose and take the risk to follow your heart, even though it might not make sense, but it just feels right. This is what leads you to your soulmate. This is what leads you to your soulmate. It's the way through. It brings celebration. It brings a point of arrival. Rectification helps one live in peace with everyone. If we all hold space for this, if we all honor everybody's voice and their contribution, what they want to bring forward, if we honor other people's choices, even though it might be challenging for us because we wish they would make another choice. But if we can respect that freedom, then others respect our freedom as well. And this is what balances the scales, and each person comes into alignment with that which is meant for them, right? There doesn't need to be a sense of competition. Now we have, these cards are all crossing, okay? And they came up face down, so I'm seeing them first time with all of you. I love this. Okay, so we got the Three of Swords, Rahel, the quickly forgiving God. Love and submission cures illness, influences paternal love, gives long life. Okay, so we may be in a time of separation right now. It may feel like there is no way to bring, you know, things back together again. That sword on that stone, it's reminding me of the sword of the stone, you know, and having the courage and the heart, you know, to actually be able to pull it out, you know. What is that, Excalibur, you know? This energy coming through very strongly. Three of Swords, it's interesting with the Three of Swords, because Three of Swords always implies some heartache, right? Some grief, some sense of loss, some sense of separation. But the Three of Swords often indicates that any separation is temporary. It's only temporary to create space to really process what is going on in the heart space. And then usually with the Three of Swords, when it comes into a cycle, there always is a point when the energy comes back around, either to close properly, because it wasn't closed properly at the time due to too much hurt, too much emotional wounding, too much pain in the heart, too much grief, or in some cases to actually heal the connection and come into a place of reunion and renewal. Both of these are on offer. This is about submitting to the higher order of love and understanding that love is about freedom, and what you are grieving over, what you feel separated from right now. Maybe you feel it's not fair, or maybe you feel like it's a great loss, it's unjust in some way, but this is about just trusting the release. It's about trusting this moment of pause, this moment of separation, this moment of feeling like you're locked out of the garden of earthly delight, and instead just allowing yourself to be in this place of separation by getting in touch with your own heart space and what you're really feeling. Some of you may be healing stuff that comes from its roots in your childhood and is related to the love you were able to or not able to give and receive with your parents, okay? One or both of your parents. This coming forward very strongly, but there's something here from being willing to do your own internal grieving, healing work, release work during this lunar cycle, working with that waning moon energy that allows you to start a brand new chapter when those changing of the nodes of destiny come in on the 18th and further impacted by the Leo new moon, and as well that Venus retrograde energy in Leo that comes in on the 22nd and will be with us clear through fall equinox. The harvest time this year is going to be major for those who are willing to do the work and are breaking free of patterns and are willing to show up in a place of authenticity aligned with the truth of their hearts. Those who are willing to go to those painful places to truly grieve, release, let go, and have the courage to step into the future, bring their, sword of truth forward forward with them. It's interesting. I want to say from, it's like your sword of truth is arrived at through these experiences that you're rising up out from, That's how you've arrived at your truth. So there's already a tremendous gift in what came through these painful experiences. You're not understanding how much this situation or this person that you felt so supremely challenged by has been a tremendous gift for you, because they've allowed you to really arrive at your core truth. And this is what aligns you with your purpose. You'll see as this energy starts to come in, but you are going to get to the other side of this, all right? And you're going to start a new chapter that will have you moving in a brand new direction. And this is like the foundation for a long time to come. You're releasing yourself from this struggle. And with this comes Page of Cups. God who rejoices, divine comfort gives consolation and protection from one's enemies. And there's that sword of truth raised up again, raised up high. It's like you're really being encouraged to speak your emotional truth and live from your place of emotional truth. And many of you will either be giving or receiving a message that's coming from a heart space, okay? With the Page of Cups, it's a very small opening. It's a brand new beginning. It starts out, it seems so small, but it's what really gets things moving. And so in some cases where you feel like, there's something that I need to express here from my heart that I've held back, you don't need to think about making some grandiose gesture. It might be that you just need to begin very simply, very small, just create an initial opening. Likewise, you may have somebody starting to approach you. They're going to reach out to you with some kind of message, some kind of communication. They want to communicate something with you from their heart. Now, for you, considering in light of what you've been through with this person, you may think it's not enough, but that would be really a way to keep yourself in a cycle of separation and suffering. This is about you understanding that it might have taken this person a lot of courage to even reach out, considering what's been going on between you two or what happened back there. So it's about honoring the courage that it took for this person to even make the gesture, to emotionally open up and reach out, okay? And holding space for this, because there's some kind of comfort that comes through. There's some kind of consolation that comes through the communication that can be like a salve on wounds. It can be like a balm to the heart, all right, for both individuals, or in some cases within a group dynamic. Some of you are dealing with group dynamics. You're healing within a group of people. Honor what comes forward that's in the name of moving from that heart space, and try to have some compassion as you step into this territory. There is protection from all that would block this expression in doing this, okay? Because that's the real enemy, that which wants to block this expression of truth that comes from the heart. And what is that original enemy? That there's separation. Separation is the illusion. It is the original lie. So at the end of the day, all of us are humans and we're flawed, okay? We're imperfect. We all have lessons to learn. We don't always hit the mark. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we could have done better. But it's not about moving into this place of hostility, judgment. It's about willingness to be teachable. It's about willingness to move into emotional terrain that maybe you haven't gone into before. It feels very awkward to be in this space, to have a conversation that somebody you felt very hurt by, and actually receive their truth, receive their vulnerability, and be open to it. Whether you choose to renew that relationship or not is not the point. It's about the witnessing, and it's about witnessing yourself in that experience as well, that gives you some kind of key that will serve you, some kind of pearl of wisdom that carries you forward in your relationships for a long time to come. So what's happening here is very beautiful, and it's moving towards unity consciousness, and it's moving towards healing. And I love this. It's also bringing in justice, and it's balancing the scales. Libra energy front and center. We had the Queen of Swords show up earlier. It's what opened up this reading. It's what opened up this reading. So this is about balancing the karma, and that's what's going to come around with the Venus retrograde energy. It's an opportunity for you to close an old cycle and free yourself. Dues paid in full, balancing karma, and it opens you up to a brand new beginning. So you can rise into the Aries North Node and initiate a new cycle. And some of you, yes, you will be healing a relationship. You will be initiating a new cycle with that old love. You will be initiating a new cycle with your husband, your wife that you've kind of been on odds with. You know, you're getting back even playing field. You're seeing each other eye to eye now. You're seeing the truth of each other's feelings. Some of you will be healing with that family member or that friend that you've had a falling out with. It's about coming from the heart space, though, and there is absolutely no wiggle room when it comes to the authenticity and telling the truth. It is a major key for moving forward. Where you are withholding truth, where you are moving in this way, it's going to keep you stuck, stagnant, and in a repeat cycle of just constantly having to deal with the same karma over and over again, because karma is the work you're here to do. We are all here to burn off our karma. We all have spiritual lessons to learn. And if you don't learn the lesson, right, think about when you were back in school. Well, this is the school of life. Like, you fail a test, you don't just like get to just bypass. It's like, okay, you're going to have to learn this lesson over and over and over again until you can pass the test. So it's test time. How will you receive this person that's approaching you? Will you receive them with an open heart and a willingness to hear their truth? It doesn't have to change your position if you've decided, I want to move forward from this. I don't want to go back here. It's not about that. It's about closing things properly. It's about balancing karma, and it's about doing it in such a way where it's even. Things are even. There's nothing you're dragging behind you. You know, sometimes forgiveness looks simply like letting go and releasing. this communication facilitates that for one or both parties. And if it's only happening for one person, or it seems like that the truth is it's really happening for both of you. And maybe it takes time for the other to see that. And for some of you, you realize, oh my gosh, we needed this separation. We needed this time apart. We needed everything to come undone. We needed this mess because it required us to fall back on ourselves. And some truth, some core truth became very clear in this distance and made us realize how much we really do mean to each other and how much we're willing to do this work. And so we're willing to head into this uncomfortable terrain to kind of go over old ground, to properly close the old cycle. So we can come back together and step forward brand new. It's happening in both ways. Some people are ending things on the right note. They're closing things properly and respectfully that allows healing for all parties involved. And that's something to celebrate too, even though you're moving forward into the unknown of a new chapter. And some of you are actually healing your relationships. You're coming back together with a lover, with a spouse, with a family member, with a friend, with a mentor, with somebody that, you had a misunderstanding, or you were both so locked up in your own healing process, your own grief, your own shadow, that you weren't able to really see the other person's experience. But now, with Venus retrograde coming around, something's being illuminated with that Leo ruling planet, the sun. Is shining a light on what couldn't be seen before. This allows some truth to come forward. It allows you to come back together stronger than ever, right? So this is very front and center. Justice makes truth known, causes innocence to prevail, okay? In some cases, you labeled somebody the enemy. Ted just said yes. In some cases, you labeled somebody an enemy. It was your own wounding. It was a projection of your own fears, your own inability to trust another, that you labeled someone an enemy, and they've been on your side the whole time. Ted said yes again, right? So I feel like a lot of truth is being revealed, and the truth that comes forward, it's celebration, okay? It's celebration. It brings alignment. It brings healing. It's very beautiful with the Four of Wands. It's very beautiful energy. And right behind that, I love that. It's the King of Wands. And this opened up also with that Page of Wands, right? So we know where fire comes forward, where we bring the fire forward, and we're willing to sort of like issue that initial communication, where we're willing to take that initial action. For some of you, the action you need to take is just the receptivity to meet with this person, to have this conversation, to even open up the dialogue, okay? Some of you are actually taking the action. I feel like fire sign energy, because it's coming forward very strongly. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is actually initiating the action in regard to these situations in a lot of cases. And it starts off very small with the Page of Wands, okay? It's just an initial message, an initial communication, an initial opening. It seems very small, but we know that it matures with the King of Wands, Daniel, coming in here. Masculine energy coming through, and it's not an accident, because the masculine is the avenue, is the way through for the feminine creative power to flow. Nothing can come into being. There can be no beginning without the avenue being there. And this is why, we got to balance those polarities, masculine, feminine, within ourselves as well. We can't just be all about taking action. We can't be all about, going for success at any cost. We can't be pitta, pitta, pitta all the time, right? And we also can't be in that place of just lost in emotions and processing things and keeping it up in our head. It's about a balancing of the two. Both have value, and we have to bring both into balance if we're going to find a way forward. And yes, that applies globally, absolutely. Masculine, feminine needs to be brought into balance. They are both wings of the same bird, and without both wings, you can't fly, you can't go anywhere, things get stuck, okay? So there's a need to balance things out, but I do feel this masculine energy really taking the initiative to bring their truth forward, to speak a truth. It builds the light in a situation where there's been darkness or confusion. Maybe you didn't know what this person felt. Maybe you didn't know what was going on with them. Maybe their actions confused you. Now they're making clear why they took the actions they took. Maybe it was hard for them to bring this truth forward. They didn't know how to communicate it. Or maybe for them, they've also been lost this whole time. They don't understand why they took certain actions. They don't understand why they did what they did. But there's something that's coming forward. And look at this. It's so beautiful. King of Wands, Daniel, God the merciful judge, eloquence gives answers to those in doubt. And I feel like it's this truth telling that comes forward, though it may create a disruption, because we do have a tower here with Uriel, and this says the fire of God, all right? Disruptions, warns of disasters, okay? So yes, this may create some upheaval when it comes in. When you bring forward your truth, when you take this action, or when you receive this person's truth, when you receive this action that they're about to take, which I feel it's coming forward as a message collective, it may create some upheaval, okay? It shakes things up. It's a little bit of disruption, but hey, all worthwhile changes, all transformation comes from this kind of disruption, because it's the abolishing of lies so that the truth, the fire test of truth, can come through. And here's the thing, in reconciliations, when you're wanting reunion or you're wanting reconciliation, you're wanting to heal a relationship, all true relationships must pass the fire test of truth. Can your relationship survive the truth? If it can, then that's something to really invest in. If you're willing to grow with this person and you can both come from that place of heart-centered truth, transformation is possible. Don't ever let anybody tell you it is impossible. Love has a lot of power to transform, but sometimes love is fierce, right? And love does require us to be in that place of truth. And there can't be moving forward, there can't be healing, there can't be progression until we are coming from that place of truth. And sometimes our truth creates disruption, but in the end, it's what aids in transformation. And Uriel is an angel that's all about protection from enemies. And when we're looking at enemies in these terms, the enemy is the lies, the enemy is the deceit, the enemy is that sense of separation. So it's about coming into that place of unity within ourselves first, so we can take these actions and communicate that will support us most in the Venus retrograde cycle. And to come into a place of unity within ourselves, we have to arrive at our truth. And we have to live from that place, or else we'll always feel divided. So this is coming in just as a support for how to work with this tower. But in doing this, we reach the world. Successful completion with the old cycle so the new cycle can begin. The world is associated with the fixed signs. Yes, absolutely, Amanda. Truth equals clarity. Absolutely. Truth also is the foundation to build a solid new beginning on, correct? You can't build something on lies. It will always come down with a tower. And in the age of Kali Yuga, this is more front and center than ever, right? Because lies just aren't tolerated. What's false will be torn down. It's the way it is. We are really coming into a new way of moving forward in the world globally, you know, with the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So before we can head into that expansion, we have to shed what's kept us in this contracted space, what's held us back. This might be coming forward very strongly for the fixed signs, all right? So that would be Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio, all right? But this is the fountain of wisdom, and it gives success in all ventures. So welcome this, where you are going to get an opportunity to balance things out. Look at this, temperance. Ah, so beautiful. Sagittarius card, we have had fire sign energy come in very strongly, so this may also be speaking very strongly to those with Sagittarius placements. There's reconciliation on offer and a regaining of the favor of one that was offended, okay? So somebody's coming correct That's what I got. Somebody's coming correct, and they're coming forward in a heart-centered way to share their truth from an emotional place. And it's not easy for them to own this truth. For whatever reason, this person has always felt like, they didn't really have the courage to bring this truth forward. And it may be hard for you to receive because you might have certain resistances to hearing this person out. I get that. You might have gone through some difficulties with this person, or you might have falsely labeled this person. You may have cast them into the role of villain, but there's something about their truth that's illuminated, that's super powerful, and it shines a light on something you couldn't see before. This person is coming forward in all sincerity with the temperance here. It's to balance things out. It says here, reconciliation regains the favor of those one has offended. So no matter how this works out, whether you choose to move forward, and it looks like a lot of you will. We see reconciliation here. Maybe your relationship transforms. Maybe somebody who was a lover at one point, there's a reconciliation, but now you move forward as friends. There doesn't need to be any sense of loss around the redefinition of this relationship. Something really beautiful can still come out of that. Maybe it does mean you reunite as lovers. We do have 4 of Wands on the board, okay? It's a very positive sign of coming into a place of union, working things out, coming back into alignment. It's the 1111 card. Angels on deck, they're here, they're helping us out. There's a lot of synchronicity around this, okay? So tap into the magic, tap into the possibility of miracles. They are on offer, all right? But you have to be receptive to it. If you automatically shut something down because you have preconceived notion about it, you don't know. You might be pushing away a gift that Spirit's trying to give you, all right? So just be open, all right? Be open. Whatever this message that's being revealed, whatever this person brings forward, there's something that rights wrongs. There's something that brings balance to a situation. Something's alchemized here, and it's a beautiful opportunity for healing. And I got to leave it off. Oh my goodness, this is too, are you kidding me? We're leaving it off here. It's too darn good. We got the Empress to the Emperor, and right in the middle of them, the Star. Okay, it just doesn't get better than this. This is also speaking of that guiding star, that star, the North Star, following your North Star. It leads you to your destiny. This is the changing of the nodes of destiny. The Emperor representing Aries in the North node. The Empress represented as Libra in the South node. This is going to be a guiding star. It's the point when we have the new beginning. There's a light that comes through that starts guiding us forward out of the darkness. There's something that comes in. It brings hope. I believe it's a message. It's a communication. Somebody is finally letting their truth be known. They're speaking a truth, an emotional truth. They've held it back for too long out of fear because they know, like, I hurt this person in the past, or I did something that I'm not proud of, but by them bringing this forward, it actually brings hope into the situation. There's some kind of healing. There's some kind of reconciliation. And with the Star, it says clemency and equilibrium protects against attacks. So it's like, if you're this person that you feel like, oh my gosh, I really blew it back there, man. Why did I do this? I hurt this person so badly. They're not going to want to talk to me. And yet you can't help it. You feel like I can't be right until I have a talk with this person and I share what I'm feeling. If you feel like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's not even worth the effort, like they're not going to be open to hearing me, and you're feeling really hopeless about the situation, this is your guidance. You can move forward with this, all right? It's actually going to be what guides you forward to a new beginning in this situation. You will be well received. There's protection against attacks, so you don't need to worry about this. There's hope filtering into what has been an impossible situation, okay? That's had you held up at the crossroads with this hanged man energy. This is what gets you out of the crossroads. It gets the energy moving. And we got Emperor to Empress here. This is clearly 2 people that have done the work. The Emperor and the Empress are the combination of all four queens or all four kings. It's earth, air, fire, water, all right? Moving through all of those lessons. The swords, being able to communicate your truth, being able to speak your truth, being able to stand in your truth and have conviction and cut off what doesn't serve. The fire, to bring your fire forward, to own your fire, to live your life with passion and purpose, and to stand for that, and to focus on that light that's guiding you forward, to feed it with your actions, with your intentions. This is what lights your way forward. It's what blazes the trail. The cups, to listen to your intuition, to digest your emotions, your emotional experiences, and to be able to speak your truth from that heart-centered place. And if you are dealing with any difficult communications at this time, it's so important. Just place your hands on your heart. When you speak to that person, it will remind you to stay centered in your heart as you speak your truth. Sometimes truths are harsh as well, and you can still speak your truth with love, okay? Sometimes love is fierce. And of course, finally, the earth energy, the pentacles, all right? Which is all about knowing your worth, knowing your value, knowing what is true meaning, investing in that, making the investment, and where you do issue a communication to start a healing process, or where you do hold space and receive someone's communication to open up this healing process, be committed to it. Invest in this. It's worth it. It brings about a healing and some kind of balancing out, okay? And with the Empress, it says fertility, fruitfulness, assures peace between married couples. So again, where you've had challenges in relationships, there's some kind of transformation happening here. Look at the snake energy moving up that. It looks like just the start of the tree of knowledge. So I feel like whatever's starting right now, it's just the beginning of that transformation. But this tree is going to grow into a tree of knowledge, a tree of wisdom. It's going to illuminate a lot for both of you. And there is a healing that can happen here, okay? You can come back together in a very beautiful way. And here with the Emperor, we have political authority, gives safe travel, and protects against conspiracies, all right? So where you've been dealing with a situation where division was caused by outside interference, third-party interference, people kind of inserting themselves into your intimate connection, creating division, this is going to be overcome, all right? This is you stepping into that place of authority in your life and also putting down some boundary lines, not allowing people to encroach upon what is private and between the two of you. Or in some cases, if you're healing a family dynamic, what's happening in your family. This is about preserving the integrity of that intimacy is very important, and putting boundary lines down against anyone who would try to insert themselves into your very private matter. It's so important you create this respectful space as you're healing these connections. This is what finds the way through. It gives you safe travel to the new life, okay? Beautiful. And it ends with this reading. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is how it ends. It ends with the Magician, to the Lovers, to the Ten of Cups. All right. The Magician is that Aries North Node energy, taking the initiative, all right? Raising that wand. All right, I'm bringing my fire forward. That's it. This means something to me. This gets me in my heart space. I know I'm meant to communicate my truth. I know I'm meant to talk to this person. I know I'm meant to work this out. I know I'm supposed to take this step forward toward healing. You taking that action, it's spiritual wisdom and magic. It helps you gain wisdom and discover hidden secrets. It helps you see something that you couldn't see about this situation before. This is the alchemy point. And we got the Lovers here, and I love the Lovers in the Angel Tarot because it has a different meaning than the Lovers in the Rider-Waite deck, which is all about making a choice. I mean, of course, we always have choosing love, right? And that's very much at the forefront of this read and what's coming through for the collective. If you're in doubt about how you should move forward, choose love. Choose love. Ask yourself with any question you're considering, with any action you're thinking about taking, ask yourself, is this action coming from a place of love or fear? And that can help you balance things out. It can help you temper things. But with this Lovers, it says joy and pleasure brings happiness to couples and removes negative energy. So something is starting here. A healing process is happening here in a relationship. It's a brand new beginning, and it brings the 10 of Cups. And this 10 of Cups says, divine warrior confounds the wicked, brings victory and peace. So this is very much like love wins. Love always wins. And you're about to head into a very transformational cycle with this new beginning. And it's not going to be easy, okay? It is going to require your commitment. For some of you, you are completely leaving the past behind. And this is what allows you to come into alignment with somebody who is also doing the work, somebody who is also ready to grow. And it allows you to really move into a dynamic new cycle. But along the way, there's still a healing process, right? Even if you're moving on from an old relationship and you're welcoming a new opportunity, you still have a healing process involved in that. It's about learning to come from a different place and lay down a new foundation as you enter relationship. But there's some coming together here. There's some fulfillment coming in here. There's some alignment of what is meant for you, and it rises up directly out of the grief, the losses, the separation, what had to be cut off, what had to be released, the shadow aspects that were shed. It brings the light back into your life. It brings you your star. And I feel like that star is really speaking of that sun coming back in to illuminate everything, and the happiness of that sun that comes in Leo season, which is kicking all of this off. First, new moon in Leo, changing of the nodes of destiny, big, big, big trajectory shift for the collective, okay? Opening up a brand new cycle. If you stay stuck in the shadow and you want to stay in these places of separation and continuing to fuel grudges and continuing to focus on what happened back there, you're going to miss this turn of fortune. So it's so important that you start thinking about moving forward progressively and how you can do that progressively. The way to do that, very simple, very plainly, very cleanly, is to align with your heart, take your actions from this place, and move out of any kind of deception, lies, secrecy. This is about aligning with your truth, communicating your truth, being emotionally authentic, and living from that place. You do this, everything that is meant for you is going to come into alignment. You will come into alignment with your destiny. If you don't, and you continue to stay in these old cycles that are just about regurgitating what happened in the past, continuing to stay in this place of karmic debt because you're not doing the work, you're going to miss this turn of fortune because the ships have no place to come in. Your harbor is closed and you can't receive. And we know that with the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is about being in a place where you've been through so much with this high priestess energy, being in that south node of Scorpio. You've been through so much that you are very guarded, that you're very defensive, that you may not be willing to entertain this communication, that actually could be the very thing that frees you, okay? So this is about trusting the wisdom you've gained as you work through the shadow to not fall for the okie doke again. You know what I'm saying? This is about you being in a position where you understand, I really have learned my lessons and I can trust my intuition. And there's an empowerment that comes through that. And this brings you success, okay? This brings you success. So it's like, let down the guard, let down the drawbridge, be willing to let the new in, be willing to let hope come in again, be willing to let the light back in again, because it's really what delivers you to this beautiful new future. Don't get caught up in the machinations of that devil energy or trying to make things go the way you think they should go or having some false sense of control over situations. This is about openness, willingness to learn, willingness to receive, and bringing your truth forward as well into the mix. And this is what lights way forward. Nine of Wands, universal medicine, elevation of the soul, and the revelation of mysteries. All right? But to receive them, gotta let down the guard, collective. And that's what I got for you. It's a really beautiful energy. And I kind of feel like since we're closing out the Scorpio South Node with this particular lunar cycle we're in, I want to go ahead and just get an overarching theme with the Halloween oracle here for the collective during this time that we're doing the last remnants of the closing up of the old cycle leading up to July 18th, when we have the new cycle begin. And once we get this overarching theme for the collective, I'll open up the space if you all have any questions or just want to share your experiences so far. And you can even, type those in now, because I know it takes time to type things in. If you have anything you need clarification on, regarding the Own Your Fire course, or if there's any way that I can support you, please feel free to bring it in. I want these lives to be an opportunity for you to feel supported as you're going through this community road opener. So let's just get an overarching theme for the collective here in relation to all this. Skull of darkness, blind spots, okay? So that's why I think it's really a good idea during this lunar cycle to kind of look back on that first week, because we're on week 3. We're entering week 3. You had action steps that you outlined. You wrote up a mission statement. As you started to drop in with this energy, is there anything you need to tweak with your mission statement so it's more in alignment with your truth, okay? Are there any action steps that you need to get on, or have you kind of like let that fall to the wayside? This is about getting back on those action steps, or maybe you realize there's some new actions you need to take, or maybe you thought you needed to take an action, but it wasn't the right action. Very important leading up to the start of the new cycle, because right here we got midnight. This is reminding me of that Aries point. That 0 point when the new cycle begins, when we have Aries in the North Node, Libra in the South Node. That is midnight, the most magical hour of all. And truly, the magic's about to happen, okay? You're going to start to understand why you've been through the process you've been through. But it really requires you showing up for it, being ready for it, and being open to it so you don't block those blessings. Really beautiful, okay? Really beautiful. Some of you are like, I got this image, like some of you are just like, oh, you're just making it. Like I had this image of like Cinderella running, out from the ball. She doesn't want to be seen, in her tattered clothes. But it's sort of like, it's okay for you to be seen as you are. It's okay. That's actually the thing that sets you free. And it's this sort of like stripping away all the artifice and showing up in this real way that's going to bring such a beautiful new beginning. But there is destiny aligning here for you, collective, and it's absolutely beautiful. So any questions before I get off here? Any experiences you want to share? Anything that's been coming in for you that you want to bring in? Just going to kind of gather these cards together. Thank you for being understanding about me having come on later today. I had clients to tend to this morning, and so I had to make that a priority. But I will always show up on Wednesdays and Saturdays with a live as we're moving through this journey together. Welcome to the 3rd week. I hope you enjoy getting in touch with your heart, and also being mindful about where you're at health-wise in terms of your heart health, your cardiovascular health, and taking some action steps in that regard to get things moving in a positive direction. I think you'll experience so much benefit from it. And also just bringing the exercise piece in and getting moving. It's going to help get things moving in your life, get you out of your head, help you process those emotions. Exercise, fitness can be such a wonderful container for holding emotions that normally can be frustrating to kind of like work through. It gives an avenue for it to be expressed and channel that fire through. And that's when you can really reach a point of transformation, because it lets the emotions flow and things are a lot clearer. You're able to act more decisively. So this is a very important lesson for this week, and hope you feel really supported. And just want to remind you that back in 2022, last year, we did an Own Your Fire Panchakarma here, and there is a playlist for it. So I did a video every single day for 40 days straight when we were moving through that. So there's so much information there. So if you want to drop in with that, feel free to drop in with it. It will give you a lot of support if you want some kind of like daily check-in points as you're moving through this cycle. And all of that information absolutely coincides with what we're going through right now, because it's for Pitta, okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and drop off now and drop in with myself and, you know, drop in with my own heart and do this work. I think I'm going to get a good workout in. My body's really been wanting some cardio, so I'm going to get back to my heart that way today and just get this energy moving, get my own process going. Okay, I'm doing this right alongside all of you, and I think that's going to be it for me for today. I think you know, almost 2 hours on a live is enough drop-in time for today. I'll be back tomorrow to move forward with the series that I'm kicking off this week, and we'll get all of those reads done that are for looking at the love series, the descendant signs series. Okay, we'll get all those done this week, and then I'll look at the highest views, and we'll determine who's gonna get the free reads in July, the bonus reads. All right, so we'll be looking at that, and we'll get moving forward also with the supermoon reading series to help you feel supported during this lunar cycle leading up to the changing of the nodes of destiny. I plan on having both reading series completely done this week. All right, so be on the lookout for all that. Lots more coming in, announcements to come. Do also get yourself dialed in for the live that will be coming in on Leo New Moon for the changing of the nodes of destiny with Cal Garrison. I'm so stoked. She's coming back again, mother of the sky. She is like OG astrologer and so much wisdom. So we're really lucky that she wants to drop in with all of us again. So I already got a post up about that on the community board. You can hit the notification on that to stay tuned. And that'll be going on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesday, July 18th. So hope to see you all there. And yes, we also have a video coming in. I'm thinking probably on Saturday that's going to be a session for closing out soul retrieval work and returning soul parts. It's the perfect time for it with where we're at in the astrology. And so that support's coming in as well. So stay tuned. And thank you to all of you who dropped in with me in live time today. And thank you to all of you who will catch the replay and all the new subscribers. I appreciate all of you so much. Take care, and I'll see you soon.